All right, welcome to the Watchdog Wire Weekly Report. I am done reading the Clermont Sun every week because I can't take it anymore. I will every week have a quick focus on either the dumbest or the Clermont Sun a little bit, the trash newspaper for Clermont County that is basically controlled by the government. So what I'm going to do is I want to keep this to 30 minutes. First time I did it, I'm not going to do a lot of prep, but I have a clock here and I'm going to start the clock, and it's going to be my reminder, and a big alarm's going to go off at the end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some things that I did in the past week, what I covered in the past week. I had a lot this week, so don't count on me having this much stuff. And then I'm going to talk about what are some of the things I'm focusing on in the week ahead or longer term. Then I will talk about the sun. And then if there are any chat comments, I will respond to any chat comments. So if you're watching this and if you're one of those people like Joe Pat or somebody that's always wanting to question me or challenge me, but refuse to do an interview with me or to interview me, you can chat it up, and I will try to respond to chat comments no matter what they are. Okay, so let's get going. I'm going to put up here, and I try to play with this a little bit. What's a better way to get Facebook to show up? But it shows up like this. And so I post everything on X, Facebook, and if it's video, I put it on YouTube also. So just so you know, I put it in all those places. I'm going to use Facebook. Maybe I'll alternate weeks and use X. Maybe X will show up better. Facebook kind of does this thing in the middle, but I'm going to cover basically from the 14th, which was last Sunday, to yesterday, and what are the key things. So one of the key things that I had a couple things on is our prosecutor's office. Anybody that follows me knows that I think our prosecutor's office is absolutely terrible. The people should be embarrassed. And one of the things is they've locked the prosecutor's office to the public. And so I went to the public. But notice it has a different phone number. So our prosecutor's office, they had the wrong two different phone numbers. They locked the office. They have a lobby. They locked the office to the public. They had dumb signs. Signs are wrong. And so I focused on that. I had this funny thing because I think this insurance guy looks like the Ukraine guy, Zelensky. So I think he looks like Vladimir Zelensky. All right. This Monday at the 22nd, there'll be something coming up this week, is I'm going to give out some free beers in front of the building before the West Clermont School District board meeting. And the craziest thing ever, the whole area around the Union Township Civic Center is an open door and drinking area as long as you buy your drinks at Jungle Jams, RJ's, or La Rosa's, or Rincon Mexican. You could drink it up wherever you want around there. So I'm sure that they wanted people to start drinking before meetings out front and get fired up a little bit before going in for a school board meeting. The other thing I focused on is, and let me put this.
Seem to have really paid off. So this is what the Watchdog Wire is going to
is that they also, in this building, they have like this open gun policy. I'm all for.
Totally legal here. They did this super confusing John Becker lingo sign that basically says you can bring your gun.
Let me see if we get out here. Okay. They put in place this policy without consulting with the school district, and they bring people in there like trouble students for counseling and so forth. And I'm for, guns as much as possible, but I do think it doesn't make a lot of sense to have a sign of open guns in a school district office or around a school district office. I've tried to get the young Democrats and the young Republicans together. I guess they had coffee. It's the slowest ever getting together. But I think maybe some of the press plus the Charlie Kirk thing is causing this. I think that I believe in what Russell Brand says, is that we have a lot more in common with each other than we do with any of the people that purport to be our leaders. And dialogue is important. It's funny with Charlie Kirk's assassination this week. I was pressing for this dialogue. I've always pressed for candidate forums, dialogue, communication. Let's talk about the issues. And what I find is it's on both sides. The Democrats are as bad as the Republicans. The Democrats are in I think, an unholy, unwritten agreement with the Republicans in Clermont County. But it's the old people that prevent that from happening. I think the young people would do that. And Charlie Kirk showed that you could have a positive effect on everybody and try to get some solutions. So they had some sort of coffee. in the past week. Now let's keep going. Ryan Nelson is one of the Mark DeCalby crooked special prosecutor types. So Mark DeCalby, the prosecutor, uses special prosecutors, which are always, as far as I can tell, forum shopped, which means DeCalby gets somebody he knows is going to do what he wants to a predetermined outcome. Foreign shopped, predetermined outcome. So let's look at some of the special prosecutors he's had. David Fornshaw, that covered up the Jesse Kramig thing until I caught Jesse Kramig in sexual activity with his hot assistant in the parking lot of a park. Mike Moser, who covered for Greg Simpson. Raver J. Clark, who covered for DeCalby himself. Aaron Haslam, who covered up a assault that took place in a Clermont GOP meeting. And then we have Ryan Nelson. So Ryan Nelson is from Hamilton County, a super libtard, somebody who celebrated the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He was brought in to try to railroad Bill Thomas. So Bill Thomas probably arguably puts some shit online he shouldn't. He's got a temper that he needs to better control when he's writing stuff. But any event, so he gets railroaded. It's one of the most dumb things ever. He got indicted by a grand jury, for a misdemeanor, which is unheard of, where no law enforcement agency wanted him charged. And that tells you just weaponization. And the funny thing about it, similar thing happened with me, is Bill Thomas and a few other people had their identity stolen by a person named Michael Linnerman. And so, Linnerman was using, or his associates were using their identities and signing them up for liberal causes and events and stuff, causing embarrassment and so forth. And that's, I think Bill Thomas and some other people were wanting Linnerman charged. And of course, Mark DeCalby, who is not a conservative even remotely, it turns that into somehow Bill Thomas is the one guilty of something. It's nuts. DeCalby tried the same thing with me when Greg Simpson was threatening my family. Then he turns it into that somehow I'm a felon for having filed a private citizen affidavit. Mark DeCalby is a slime ball, a complete slime ball. And look at the company he keeps, people like Ryan Nelson. So Ryan Nelson, this particular clip that was here was about Sharon Coolidge, who is a former Enquirer reporter that now is like the PR person for Connie Pillage, the prosecutor in Hamilton County. And it just let's see if watch again. Let me put this on here. She's like Airhead. Let's see, I can't hear it. Here we go.
Sorry, I don't know. I'm not involved in any
of
this.
This is like MSNBC
storm, got Willie,
in and out of the government.
Ryan Nelson puts these comments.
You were a reporter.
The death of
you know
Kirk.
this is a news story.
I am aware that I was a reporter,
I never heard about this.
You know I'm not the prosecutor here. I make no decisions about employees.
Remember, a lot of the reporters are.
You can answer questions honestly and transparently.
Government because they go back and forth. I mean, look at Sharon Coolidge. Okay, so. That is about. Now let's go forward. We're getting to one of the things this week was the vigil for Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk was a great man. It's so funny now that I do think that there's a lot of quote unquote conservatives that I never heard Charlie Kirk talked about in any Clermont GOP meetings or anything like this, but you would think that these people all were like every night going home to go through Charlie Kirk stuff. Charlie Kirk was known for being a man of deep faith. But the thing that really set him apart, it can be very logical, super smart, was that he was pretty much a First Amendment absolutist. And his normal shtick at colleges was to put up a microphone and have kids come up and challenge him. And he showed that doing that, he could convert a lot of these kids. And it became like a cult thing of thousands of kids showing up to see this event. And the people that would challenge him would come because he was able to still deal with them in a positive, respectful way. Now, so there was a vigil, and I'm all for it. All for it. I filmed the whole thing. It's funny, if you watch the videos, Michael Logue says I disrupted the vigil. How did I disrupt the vigil? I never disrupted shit. But I also filmed the whole thing and put it online. Michael Logue didn't do that, so but any event. So when this was getting set up, I found out David Painter, he has let me pop into this graphic. He has an aide named Tracy Braun. So these commissioners, they never used to, they put in place because Painter's got an ego that it probably makes it hard for his head to fit through doors at times. But, they have to have these, they want to feel important. So they each have their personal aides, or they can have their personal aides. His is named Tracy Braun. She was going and setting this event up for him. And that is specifically against the law. It is a government employee cannot be involved in setting up or doing political things, And so she was doing it from her county email, and it just tells you there's no boundaries. It's funny, one of the Democrats, old-time Democrats, start bitching at me because I was complaining about the misuse of government resources. And it just tells you what a uniparty it is. We just normal to do this. It's normal to use your government employees and stuff. Remember, for this kind of stuff, Pat Monger, the engineer. I've been involved. I was not involved that much in Pat Monger, but we've had several people get fired, get convicted because of this very thing. And David Painter, it's serial, and so he did this with coffee. Okay, was one thing. He did this with Clermont GOP events at the airport, where he negotiates a contract with the airport while getting free event time at the airport, and now having his aide do this stuff. It's a pattern, and I wonder what else is there, because these are only the things that are obvious. And what his only response is, every time this comes up, is he'll put out something that I'm fake news, I'm CNN. You know what it is? Painter is a effing clown who can't engage in a conversation. He can't ever admit he was wrong. Why doesn't he just say, you know what, my bad, made a mistake? But he can't do that. The arrogance is too great. Remember, David Painter's the guy that when they got mad at me because I described what they had done to me in the Clermont GOP as a lynching, which it was, a lynching. Let me say it again, a lynching, okay? It's just like Clarence Thomas said, a lynching. David Painter went and partnered up with the Cincinnati NAACP to claim that I was a racist, which I am nothing of the sort. They don't care about principle. David Painter would be a Democrat if this was a Democrat county. Okay, there's more on that I'm going to hit, and I'm going to play some. I had an update on Rape Trail.
Do their concerts and have somebody sell.
Rape Trail is the
only reason they did this
between. Let me get up to where you can see it. A dumbass trail that goes through
but now it looks like it's going to be posh with this concrete walkway the whole way.
Only put in on some dumbass thing.
And so then the thing will be to monitor how many people actually use this walkway ever.
Concerts while they can have a beer from Jungle Gyms. It's stupid. And they set up a Dora down in this area of these strip malls that nobody participates in. Let me forward this. There's only 3 businesses in the whole 2 strip malls, where the side of the street, if you're familiar with this, where Jungle Gyms is, and the other side of the street where like Michael's is and Home Goods is. These are the Dora. You're supposed to go there and drink, drink in the parking lot, walk. It's stupid as hell. And there's only 3 businesses that participate other than people that sell alcohol. The golf shop, a nail salon, and the church. Wasn't that great? That's your whole walkable door. It's very like Loveland or Milford, right? It's so stupid. It's a rigged deal that lets them have RJs be kind of, without any compensation to the taxpayers, the sole provider of beer at these township concerts. So you can watch that. I did a whole series on Rape Trail. And some of them are, I think, pretty funny. I get stopped by a guy from the county who told me that how funny he thinks my Rape Trail stuff is about the world's dumbest door and Rape Trail. And I called it Rape Trail because they put this trail in through the woods that was just like somebody took a little bobcat and went through and cut out a trail and threw some gravel on it. So it was washed out in places, no lighting, dark. And so I coined the phrase Rape Trail, and I'm very proud. At first, when I said I was going to do that, I asked my wife, do you think I could call this Rape Trail, or people be so shocked and offended? And she told me it was okay to do it. And she's pretty conservative on that kind of stuff. And I think that's what people call it, Rape Trail. And now I say it's going to be called Safe Trail or Hicks Trail. but I believe that they spending $100,000 on what they're doing with it right now, which is, just think about this, $100,000 for this trail. What could they have done with $100,000? If you live in Union Township, that means they could have fixed your road. That means they could have put in actual sidewalks that you're going to walk on. I talked to Corey Wright, the administrator, about it, and he gave me some bullshit, dumbass nonsense, about how, no, this was a sidewalk we were going to put in eventually anyways. No, you weren't. It's stupid. Okay, let's keep going. On EventGate, what I call EventGate, this thing with David Painter, in the Charlie Kirk thing, I then found out, they went and had, let me pop this up. This is them on county time, wearing county badges, going to set this thing up. Okay, so I'm all for the vigil. Here's her using her government email to set this up. Let me see if I can find it here. So here's the law. And by the way, the county argued that what they're doing right now is a crime and something. They argued that I won a First Amendment lawsuit against Treasurer Zoomerly for sending an email to her government account, actually 4 emails. And they claimed that had she responded to those emails, it would have been a crime. And so this is like 10x more stuff than that. And so Painter, then dumbass Painter, says, I love it because he puts stuff in writing that, he'd help anybody. So he'd help any elected, if he says elected official, which, by the way, the party's also arguing that Gloria Kirker, who's the state central committee, whose name's on the form, that's not actually an elected official. Okay. But, that's what Painter says, even though there's a very direct statute that the county has argued says you can't do this. You got to watch these people because they think they can get away with anything, and their arrogance is what does them in. They jubile themselves. Okay, so this is on Adams County. So Aaron Haslam, Adams County. Hey, people from Adams County, when you say that I get people like, what are you doing about it? You haven't been in Adams County. First off, I don't live in Adams County. Okay, I was there. I've come there because of Aaron Haslam throwing a case in Clermont County. People were bitching at me. I'm not doing enough Adams County. It's like I just spent 30-something hours writing legal briefs relating to crooked Aaron Haslam and getting that in and filed. So I did that, and that is, and so I'm going to keep focusing there, and that's what it is. But Judge Fisher, Pat Fisher, if you go look at contribution records, the Barrett family's given him a lot of money. Aaron Haslam worked on his campaign and bundled money for him, and he should have recused. On this case, which is about Aaron Haslam's legal voting location, the Fisher, the 4 of 7 justices recused almost immediately because they have financial ties. Fisher apparently has a different perspective of what it means to be conflicted, and he ended up not recusing himself in the thing when he clearly should have. Here, people got mad at me because I said this. I don't think cops should be being used as props for ribbon cuttings for businesses, period. We pay cops to be on the street, and they shouldn't be, people would say also like they want to be more kind of a little bit anonymous, but here, this is a Pierce Township thing. And I don't like Alan Freeman because of his basically crooked nature. And so then I saw this picture of these cops doing a ribbon cutting. Where's Alan Freeman? Where are the township trustees? Why aren't they doing business ribbon cuttings? Why do you have the police and fire doing it? And how much is it costing when you have them come into these things when they could be doing something else or investigating crimes? So, all right. And then we've come up here. I did a thing that was the top 10 quotes from Charlie Kirk in my book, and went through those. Let's see if I find it here. If I get it positioned the right place, I'm going to play them real quick.
Servants, not rulers. Number 2, the bigger the government, the smaller the citizen. Number 3, courage is telling the truth, even when it's unpopular. 4, political correctness is a weapon used to silence truth. 5, truth is not determined by the loudest voice, but by reality itself. 6, without free speech, there is no such thing as truth. The moment you silence opposing voices, you destroy the foundation of democracy. 7, healthy debate makes us stronger. Censorship makes us weaker. 8, without moral standards, freedom becomes chaos. 9, freedom of religion is not freedom from religion. It means respecting all faiths. 10, the future of America depends on whether we defend freedom today.
So those were the 10 quotes I highlighted from Charlie Kirk that I thought had the most relevance to our community. And so that was before this vigil, and I promoted the vigil. I recorded and put out the whole vigil. I put out the whole vigil, the entire thing I recorded, 45 minutes of all the speeches, and put that out. Now this is again going back to Ryan Nelson and because it got to be that he was on some sort of discipline, and the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office, being a typical prosecutor's office that is crooked, wouldn't confirm the authenticity of the comments that were online that were attributed to him, wouldn't talk about discipline, and and he also got removed from the Thomason case that involves Bill Thomas. He got removed as the prosecutor for that case. And it's being reported that he's now fired. Okay. So this is Fisher not recusing. And then we've got the farmstead. So the farmstead is a place in Batavia Township. The township trustees in Batavia Township, who do not record or stream their meetings, approved a development at the farmstead. It got petitioned. It got put on the ballot. It got protested at the Board of Elections. It went to the Supreme Court. It is going to be on the ballot. So if you get a ballot that has Batavia Township related issues on it, it'll be on your ballot. So I stopped there and reported on that. And we're almost done. I was going through on this part, and my clock says 8 minutes left. I went to Batavia Village, and I was just happened to be passing through. I was actually recording some voiceovers for stuff related to Charlie Kirk. And some guys stopped me to promote the Downtown Throwdown Car Show that is on Sunday, September 28th. Registration is from 9 to noon and costs $20, and the show is from noon to 3. So if you want to go to a car show, take it from there. Okay. By the way, I don't know who these people are, but man, people are, I don't know, the education system. I know no thing to Ross. So I did a little thing on the Miami Township Police because I was going there to get the report on Tony Brothers that relates to the women's wrestling program. And I pointed out there was a safe haven sign on the door. Okay. And they had a food pantry. I just noticed this comment. So your wife was the one who started, my wife designed that sign. Okay, people, I don't know how obtuse people can be. Okay. So Safe Haven has existed for 20 plus years. Boxes is a family trying to make money off of it. I say this again and again, so I don't mean to be frustrated at Ross, but come on, pay attention. Are we on some dopamine or something, or some sort of pills or drugs or something everywhere? But so Safe Haven is you've been able to safe haven a baby at any police station, fire station, or a hospital for 25 years. You walk in, there is a voluntary form you can do if you want that's a medical history on the baby. The boxes stuff is a crooked family trying to make money off of it. How dumb can people be? Okay. So they sell these boxes, they put them in, and they almost never get used. A lot of times I believe when they do get used, it's arranged to be used. And this is humane. The people that do the boxes, I got to focus on this again, because apparently you need to keep saying stuff over and over again for people to register simple things. The boxes are a scam. The boxes are a scam. Like 20,000 babies a year get traditionally safe haven, and a small number get through these boxes. A lot of those appear to be questionable as to how this actually came to be. And they are evil. I'd say they're evil. Why do I say that the boxes are evil? Because the woman that does the boxes, Monica Kelsey, she, for example, won't even allow there to be phone numbers on the building for where you can get local help. Think about that. So the one box that's in Clermont County in Union Township, the paperwork explaining how safe havening works was only available once you open the surrender door to put your baby in. I bitched and moaned about that, and eventually got it that it's in a box outside the box, so you could actually read the paperwork before you put your baby in a box. And so, just so you know, too, the ghoulish nature of the boxes, people that are true safe haven advocates, they don't really want babies to get safe haven that much. They want it to be an option, but what they want it to do is cause young women to come forward, so that those young women can get them proper counseling, proper prenatal care, proper medical delivery. The woman that does the boxes actually encourages young women to not go to a hospital to have their baby. Think about that, because the hospital would create a record that you were pregnant, and you want to have total secrecy. So you should have your baby in your college dorm room or in your car, and then take it to a box behind a fire station and dump it in a box. This is the loving Christian woman. This is the Monica Kelsey that does this. So I'm going to focus on this more. Ross, I'm sorry, but if you think, I would encourage people, by the way, I apologize to Ross, but come on, okay? Also, on topics like this, somebody told me my Facebook page is like this one, and the Hicks Watchdog page is like a Wikipedia for the history of Clermont County political stuff since 2016. So go do a search, okay? Go do a search. These pages have searches, and learn about this topic, Ross. Learn more about it and know more about it. Okay. So the sign, went back to the prosecutor's office on the signs. I did man on the street interviews at Charlie Kirk's thing you can watch. I did a review of the prosecutor's website, and let's pop in. So they don't put this anywhere that you can find it. And this is the funniest part, as I'm going to go here. Okay. I don't know if you can see this, but on their website, they list David Taylor, the congressman, as working for Mark DeCalby. Not true. And they list Katie Terpstra, the appointed judge, crazy Katie, as working for Mark DeCalby. That is true. Even though she's a judge, she still works for Mark DeCalby. So they don't update anything. So this org chart they have on their website, because they don't care about the citizens, is from 2023. And I've bitched about it over and over again. And these people are so evil, really, that probably they don't update it because they don't want to give me the satisfaction of them updating it. Okay. And then I interviewed some politicians at the Charlie Kirk thing. And then I focused on Michael Logue. There is something wrong with Michael Logue. So he constantly runs away, but he doesn't just run away or avoid it. He goes goofy. And so this is, let's play a section of this. This is him when I asked him about having an interview. He is effing nuts. He is effing literally nuts, like mentally ill nuts. And by the way, if he isn't, he should take legal action against me, because he won't answer what drug he's got to be on some kind of drug. And I'm not saying it's an illegal drug, but a prescription drug, because his behavior is so bizarre, So he in this interview, in this attempt to have an interview, he keeps claiming that I have some deep pain or something. And I said that I haven't resolved. What is the trauma you have not healed from? You're a effing mental case. What is the trauma you have not healed from? It's a lot of projection. This man, I'd encourage people to go look. I'm almost out of time. To go look at what is my interviews with David Taylor, the congressman. This man, Michael Logue, fancies himself that he could be, sorry, I didn't have the right screen on there, fancies himself that he could be a congressman, okay? But he can't. Go compare. By the way, Greg Gentile, another person who runs screaming whenever, and it looks like Bizarro World, whenever you try to do an interview with him, he's cousin to Michael Logue. It's like some brain function in the whole family, I guess, that goes to their family. All right, my clock says I only got a minute left. That I keep following up on things relating to Ohio State scalping tickets to this directly from the university through ticket brokers to screw people that they never sell them to the general public. So that's everything. I think that's everything. that I covered, and I might have to come up with a way to do that more succinctly. It's the first time I've ever done it. In the week ahead, I'm going to keep focusing on Haslam. I'm trying to arrange for an interview of Kevin Gaffin in jail, and I think that'll happen. And I'm going to spend some more time focusing on Batavia. I'll go here. I'm going to stop. My clock is at 14, 13. My clock's almost out of time. And an alarm's going to go off. So be ready. So I am going to focus more on Batavia. This Make Batavia Amelia thing, which is somebody, I think it's Joe Pat hiding behind this. There's the alarm. Hiding behind a fake profile. They always talk, he's always giving me shit. And I want to join I'm going to go ahead and jump in. Let's jump fucking in. I don't believe Joe Pat lives in Batavia Village. I don't believe the lunatic with a truck, William Albright, lives in Batavia Village. I don't live in Batavia Village. But these guys are always chirping off and coming up and doing, Albright in particular, just a nut job appears. So I'm going to jump into this. I want to talk more about Batavia Village. And I challenge Joe Pat or Albright, let me interview you guys, or you can interview me. Why don't you guys interview me and show what a fraud I am, Mr. Albright. What a clown. Isn't it funny when people who appear to be not successful in life then act like they have all the answers for everybody else? Isn't that funny? It's like somebody said that once about, a bunch of old men that weren't successful in life now telling everybody how exactly the world should run. And so that is, and I've flipped on the wrong screen. I was talking about the Make Batavia Amelia, but it's like, these people are like rabid dogs. So this is a post about scalping tickets, OSU, Ohio State scalping tickets. And this is like typical Joe Pat, behind the fake profile stuff is to make everything, let's go back to Batavia Village on a post that's got nothing to do with Batavia Village. Okay. So I think I did week in the past, what I'm going to focus on. I haven't done real quick, and I went over. I'm going to try to get better. The Clermont Sun. The thing I wanted to highlight in the Clermont Sun is that they have their front page. Okay, they have like another stuff on this book, 9/11, Time to Always Remember. That seems to be, the kind of book that I haven't read it, but it's like, written with Brad Winstrup kind of book that was, I think we've had a lot of, and now we're more into the questioning government about 9/11 and what really happened. No disrespect to the victims or to the heroes, but, a lot of these heroes had very long-term negative effects on a thing where it gets more and more questionable what actually happened or how did this actually happen. But anyway, the thing I wanted to focus on is the front page story on the Sun is that we're going to have a story on the election someday. So the petition deadline for the election, November election, I believe was like August 6th or something like this. And now we're in September, and now the story is we're going to have something later. That's how pathetic this paper is. Like, they're going to have questionnaires. So they are too lazy and stupid to just send questionnaires to all the candidates. Think about that. A real paper would have sent questionnaires to the candidates. This is that they are going to go, you can request, and so it'll be very interesting how many candidates actually request a questionnaire from this paper. All right. I was going to cover any comments in the chat, but the only comment in the chat is one saying hi. Okay. So, and I will respond to that comment. Hi. Thank you for tuning in. That's it. That is the first ever Watchdog Weekend Review. I'll figure it out a little more, but I'm just got tired of reading the Clermont Sun and be more fun to walk through the stuff that I do. Have a great weekend.